Good evening and welcome to the Lowell Planning Board for June 1st, 2015. Tonight we have several matters on for our public hearings. The first matter is 685, 689 Lawrence Street. It's a site plan review and a special permit public hearing. The applicant is David Piscantilli, and he sent us a letter requesting that the matter be continued to June 15th, our next meeting. He's still working with planning staff. So what's the request of the board? He requested that June 15th for continuance.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we continue the hearing until the 15th of June, our next meeting.
Okay, we have a motion made. Do we have a second?
Second?
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The matter continued to June 15th. Chair votes yes. Moving along, we have another matter, 34 Berry Road. This is for a subdivision and a special permit for public hearing. We did receive a letter from Attorney Flood representing the applicant indicating that they are working with the city departments in regards to working out the acceptance of that road. And they're requesting, after working with all departments, they previously additional more time to provide further comments. And they're requesting a continuance to June 15th as well. What's the request of the board on that matter?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to continue the matter to the June 15th meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes yes. That matter is continued to June 15th. Okay, next matter is 112 Walker Street, a special permit public hearing. The Lowell Planning Board will hold a public hearing to hear all interested persons relative to an application by 112 Walker Realty Trust seeking a special permit for a building located at the above address. The proposal consists of the establishment of a three-family residential building located at the above address. The applicant is seeking a special permit under section 12.1 of the City of Lowell zoning ordinance. The parcel comprises approximately 3,360 square feet of land and is located in traditional multi-family zoning district. When we hear the case for the applicant, please. Yes, sir.
We had a continuance from the last meeting, and what I have to present for you tonight is, I just brought some, I don't know what order I should present this, but on the right-hand side of the folder that I gave you, are just some photographs of previous projects that we've done. The first one is Riverside Street. This is a project we did about 5 years ago now. And really all it is after pictures of what we did on that project. We will be, on this particular project, trying to imitate a few items from Riverside, you know, the scalping and some of the siding details, although currently we're not planning on re-siding it. We plan on adding to the existing siding. The second one is 794 and 796 Merrimack Street. That's this one here. Now, the first page is actually our artist rendering of the project before we completed it. And the second picture is an almost nearly complete picture of the project. So you can see that it's strikingly similar to what we had on paper initially before we started the project. And the last one is University Ave, 162 University Ave. We did this one last summer. On this particular one, we did not do re-siding on the outside, although perhaps in the future we may. We have consistently chosen the same roof shingles, and we try to do the same color schemes when we do these projects. So, you know, on all of those folders, you'll just see the inside of this project will be very similar to what we have on the previous presentation. So the first photograph, which is this one, not photograph, drawing, which is this one, is, again, I'm not sure what order to present it.
Why don't I help? We left it at the last meeting. You're going to tear down part of the building, come back in and see if you can add parking. So why don't you give us an update from the last meeting then? That's how we left it last time. You said you'd come back with a new drawing, you'd take off the two porches and see where parking could be picked up.
What I
That's how we left the meeting, and that's why we
Okay.
continued if you to come back and show us that plan to see what parking could be picked up.
What we presented here, I'm afraid, hopefully there wasn't a misunderstanding. Judy, Timon, and myself, we went out to the site and we just kind of measured and walked around the back of that site. And I'm actually missing one of the drawings that I had, which was showing the existing condition there. But if you look on this page here, the first page,
We've all been up there, we know what it looks like, yeah.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
this
And we have everything from the last time, we got the photos and everything else, so.
well, okay.
We know what it existingly looks like, and the way we left it last time, at least, if my memory serves me correctly, was you said you'll wait until last, you trump in the hole, we'll rip down that part there and pick up parking. So we said, okay, come back with a new plan, show us what parking you could pick up, and we'll see what new parking could be picked up.
Right,
So that's
that's right.
what, my memory serves me, so my understanding was you come back with a new plan after ripping that down and show what you pick up for parking, so. I don't know if you did that or not. If you have, I don't see anything.
In actuality, what you have here, no, we did not do that. And perhaps there was I'm not sure how this transpired. When Judy and I went out there and we did some measurements and everything, it didn't seem, when we'd taken all the site considerations in terms of the setbacks and, 3 feet from the boundary, 5 feet from the whole house, what we kind of figured is, that addition was 100 is about 10 by 10, it's about 100 square feet. And if we were to put all the compliances in with the, 5 feet from the building, that would have meant that in all, on taking down the addition, we would gain a 5 by 10 foot section, which is not even a parking space. And in other words, you're supposed to keep the pavement away from the building by, I forget if it was 3 feet or 5 feet. And even if we were to remove the addition, and respectfully, I don't remember if it was 3 feet or 5 feet, that would only leave a 5 foot by 10 foot section of space that we would have created for parking, which is only 50 square feet. It's not even a parking space. And so what we did is what the plan indicated is we put the green space along the perimeters. Now, the back perimeter right here at the top of the page, right now is concrete. They actually, for some reason, have a concrete border right here. And so we're gonna remove that and kind of like recreate the green space that is not there now, but we will put that back in. And this here is patio, it's permeable pavers. And all these things, we're trying to take into consideration, the dimensional zoning requirements. And this right here is gonna be permeable pavers to take care of, any drainage issues in terms of square footage and so forth.
Is that parking area, those permeable pavers? Is that your parking spaces?
Well, no, the space in between, which is the asphalt, would be the parking. It would be tandem parking, one behind the other.
Oh,
So it would create two spaces
okay.
in doing so. But in addition, which this doesn't really do anything for parking, but all of this here is just improvements that we would make to the site, landscaping in front here with mulching, put a paver walkway along the here to just try to integrate that. And the reason for the pavers, again, was to create more, permeable ground surface.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
For myself, speaking for myself,
We still have the public hearing open, let's see if anybody else wants to speak.
that's right.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say, sir? Anything? If not, I'll see if anybody else in the public wants to be heard.
I guess not.
Okay. Does anybody else here want to be heard in regards to 112 Walker Street? Anybody else for Walker Street? Walker Street? No? Hearing none, I'll turn over to the board at this time. Mr. Fischett?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. What I was hoping to see here this evening, and again, speaking for myself, at the last meeting, looking at the material, looking at the table of dimensional requirements, it really didn't, it looked like it was something that was, that I would be able to vote for. I thought it was worth looking at based on your suggestion of taking down those porches, and then you were asked to work with DPD to see if they can configure, and at the time, we were hoping to get probably 4 parking spots out of that, and really then the net would be, actually minus 2 spots on the street, based on your existing conditions. But when I look at the layout, and the fact that, you determined that it wasn't worth taking those structures, that structure down, the porches, what you're looking for is really stretching this way beyond the requirement for the zoning. And I think the potential for having some real issues relative to the parking and the number of tenants, for myself, you're looking at the lot size of 3,360 square feet, and you're looking at minimum lot size for all other uses of 6,000 square feet and 4,000 for lot area per dwelling unit. We really would be looking at a 12,000 square foot lot to handle the 3-family, understanding there is an existing conditions there, but the existing conditions are for a 2-family. So from my perspective, we're not really gaining much from this. I see the work from your other properties. I can appreciate that, and I would think that if you're renovating it, whether it's a 2 or 3, you're gonna renovate it to the quality that you've done the other properties. But for myself, I can't support what you're asking for in the special permit. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome, Mr. Fischett. Anybody else? Mr. Lockhart?
Yeah, I concur with what Mr. Frechette has said. And I really expected after our meeting the last time that you would come back with more definitive parking layout so we could see it, what you could fit in here. This really doesn't depict that, and therefore I don't support it.
Any other board members want to speak? Mr. Boyle?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I agree with what previous 2 speakers just said. This isn't getting us there. We need, first of all, we need a site plan, an actual site plan that would show us at the level we're used to of the detail, where the parking spaces are and what their dimensions are and things like that. But even stepping back a bit, you're here kind of engaged in what's kind of some special pleading. You bought this house and you want to add a 3rd unit, and it's in contravention of a whole lot of zoning, and kind of even would count as a bad practice for letting somebody who bought one thing which was legal in one way add a unit. There are all sorts of reasons piled up against this proposal, even just on a conceptual level. And I think that, look, I'm only going to speak for myself. I came into the last meeting 99% no. And was very surprised to find myself moved to any sort of a maybe position at all. And what moved me to a maybe position was the idea that there could be some serious effort put into redesigning this project in such a way that you're providing things on the other side of the scale. The possibility of 3 off-street parking spaces was a goodie. It's something that you stacked up on the other side. What you're coming in with now is a net gain of 1 parking space. I don't think it would lose 2 on the street. I think it would lose 1. but I'm not sure. Again, this isn't drawn out at the level of detail to allow us to make that decision. But I think you just lose the width of the driveway, which would be one space, and then gain whatever you're gaining off the street. What you're telling us now is that you're gaining 2 spaces off the street, so that's a net gain of 1 space. And that even overstates the benefit, because an on-street space can be shared by everybody, whereas an off-street space can only be used by your tenants, so it's a little bit less useful from a public policy perspective. And that just doesn't even come close to getting you to the level that you'd need to be at. I thought the loss of those porches as even potential, not really, but being used as bedrooms was a net gain. Yeah, you're shaking your head at me,
Well,
but
maybe I'm-
there's the practical considerations of people getting jammed into apartments, especially if we're talking about, these are fairly large as rental units in Lowell go, and those things on the back are certainly bedroom-sized units. And and the location of this, it's right where the college student demand and the really low-cost rental housing demand meet. And so there's really a lot of potential, I think, for overuse of this property. And I considered the loss of that interior space to be an actual gain. I think it would mean fewer people living in the building overall. That too would have been a gain. But even if you'd come in with 4 off-street parking spaces created by the loss of that building, the loss of that addition, I'm still not sure even that would have gotten it to the point where it's a net gain from a public policy perspective to give you this permit. And so I guess what I'm saying is, what's here tonight, if I was to act on this, it would be a no. It's not there. I'd like to hold out some hope that another round of this could result in a substantially better project. But I'm not really sure where we're gonna go from this.
Am I allowed to give any response?
Please.
Maybe I misunderstood as you were talking, so pardon my expression or body language. Are you saying that by the porch being there, it will be potentially used as a bedroom?
Yes.
The reason I nodded my head is that it doesn't meet the code for that, and we're not putting heat in there. And also, the first floor porch would be a common area. And so, the first, on the Riverside project, there's a side porch there, which is a common area. Although they are smaller, it's not bedroom size, okay? But it's a common area that just anybody can use, so there's no privacy that it's connected to the unit. So, there's not gonna be heat in there, and there's not gonna be facility for heat in there. So I don't see it ever being used as a bedroom. And frankly, I wouldn't allow it. We keep very close control on who we rent it to and what goes on there. We would forbid that. We don't even allow extra people in our units.
See, but we can't issue our permits based on how great this one particular property owner is at managing his property, because we don't know what's gonna happen in the future. We get something built, it's there for decades, and it's there the way it's built and being used for decades. Who knows who's gonna own this thing in 20 years? We don't wanna leave future city with a white elephant.
My wife, on the University Ave project, it's a somewhat similar situation where this is like a 3-season porch, so to speak. This is not in the folder, this particular picture.
Oh, okay.
It is?
It is?
And this is the same idea. It's a 3-season porch kind of thing. There's no heat in there, and there's no way that anybody will use that as a bedroom. We try to finish them and make them look nice like this, but the purpose is, is not to be used as a bedroom, and we don't provide facility for that. You know, there's an electrical outlet in there.
This room I'm looking at is what you're calling a three-season porch?
Is that this?
Yeah, this. Not outside the door, the thing with the floor and the windows and the paneling, and
That is on the University Ave project.
that's a three-season, that's what you're calling a three-season porch? That couldn't be used as a bedroom?
No, wait a minute, ma'am, you can't
I
speak
must
right
be
now.
misunderstanding
Wait a minute,
something.
Okay? If you want to speak later, you can't, one person at a time. I'm not listening to people from back there, it's out of protocol. Back to Mr. Boyle,
Like,
okay?
this-
If you want to add something, you can speak to him, and he can
That's a
add it, or you can just wait your turn.
This room?
Yeah. I actually spend money in hallways, in porches like this, because it's my view that, you know, the first thing you do when you come into a house is you go in the hallway. And we want to make a good presentation when you're in the hallway, because we feel that if this is what the hallway is, this is how you're going to treat the place. And so, you know, that porch will be along the lines of this. And again, there's no intention, and we're not building it so that somebody could comfortably make a bedroom. I guess if you want to wrap yourself in 3 feet of blankets or something, you know, somebody can crash on the porch, but, you know. But that was just a comment as far as a potential use of that as a bedroom. We have zero intention of ever even allowing that. And on the first floor in particular, it's a common area. If this were to be granted to be a three-family, the second floor, if you remember the previous meeting, I spoke about how we try to include as much area as we could into the apartment to reduce the common areas. So the second floor, our thought was to include that into the third floor, for use on the third floor. But if I could comment on one of the previous, I think it was,
No, not at this time. We have to wait for the rest of the board members to speak, then we can come back to you, okay? Because I'm sure 3 other people haven't spoke yet, so you may have more of a list to add to it.
okay.
So whenever Mr. Boyle's done, we'll hear from all the board members, and then I'll let you reply.
Okay, looking at this picture, that does not help me. What I'm seeing is a place where somebody puts a space heater in the wall. This is,
Well, for that,
it wouldn't be terribly comfortable. It wouldn't be terribly desirable.
well, for that matter,
This is a tough neighborhood. We're
respect,
looking at some tough and we're looking at you know, we're looking at, in terms of tenancy, we're talking about college students or people without a whole lot of disposable income. I mean, we know what rental practices are and what the housing situation is and and the conditions that certain type, that people are willing to put up with when they don't have a whole lot of other choices and options for their housing. You know, like I said, I can take your word for how good you are as a property manager, and it still wouldn't play a whole lot of role in my decision-making, because we have to think about the situation we're gonna be leaving. I'm looking at something that stands a pretty good chance of being used as a bedroom. The only, and other than demolition of those things and not having those porches at all, the only way that I would feel confident if that was to remain, that it wouldn't be converted to a bedroom, if it wasn't a three-season porch, if it was an open porch, an open exterior porch, like the front porch of my house. I'm actually very pro-porch. That would probably, I think that would be a public benefit if you were to open those up. But either way, having that there as, in my opinion, at least one more potential non-conforming bedroom doesn't help. And I still feel that you're going to be able to get more parking into that backyard without those things than with them. I do understand the formal dimensions of the spaces. I also understand how parking spaces are used in these parking areas are used in these extremely dense neighborhoods, and how effective people can be at being very efficient in their use of space and trying to get cars into areas. I would like to see this come back. I would like to see more. That's where I am on this one, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Could I comment?
Nope. Bob?
Give it a chance.
Refresh my memory, how many bedrooms are on each floor?
The first floor is 3 bedrooms, and there's an office that could be potentially, if you want to speak in those terms, could potentially be used as a bedroom. Same thing on the second floor. And the third floor is a 3-bedroom. However, if it was to be determined to be a 2-family, there could be a 4th bedroom on the 3rd floor. Because there'll no longer be a kitchen, and that space could become a bedroom. There's actually, you know, consistent with my argument from before, there's actually more bedrooms if it were a 2-family.
These other properties you had submitted as examples, how many of those are rented by students? Are there any families living in those buildings? Or are
Those particular ones, well, there's the unit my daughter lives in, that she's not a family, she has roommates, but she has a job, and her roommates have jobs. You know, they're adults, they're graduates, but they're not students. Most of those are rented by students. One of the units on Merrimack Street is mixed, you know, younger working people, but no, if you can call it, conventional families, no.
Okay. I still have a problem with the parking. I did last meeting, and I still don't see how we in good conscience can approve a kind of project like this. We're allowing something to get worse than it currently is in terms of parking demand.
In terms of, you know, I remember on the last meeting, you commented about it being a commuter school. You know, again, respectfully, I would say that if you have a commuter school, that means every student that's commuting there has a car. If a student is living there, they don't necessarily have a car. So if I was to survey any apartment that I have that has students, many of them don't have cars. So there's a potential argument that having students creates less parking demand and not more.
That's
But
this,
that's not a scientific statement, but,
I know, but that's this school year. Next school year may be different.
well, again,
And it's maybe
you can say
female
that-
versus male, and most men have cars.
if you were renting any one of my apartments to my family, there would be 5 cars for one apartment, because everybody in my family, you know, it's,
Well, every bedroom to me equals a car.
okay, well, in my case, it would be more. If we had a 3-bedroom apartment or a 4-bedroom apartment, there'd be 5 cars, because myself, my wife, and my 3 daughters all have cars. You know, it's all adults, and we all have cars.
I can live within the entitlement of the 2-family house, but I can't in good conscience give you another unit on the 3rd floor and increase the demand for parking, no matter how you look at it and play the numbers. It's just not good public policy from my point of view. I tend to not want to support this.
Thank you, Bob. Dick?
Yeah, I've given a lot of thought to this project. I've driven by it, thought about it, reviewed the things we've discussed here. And my initial reaction was that we don't want to send the message that we condone what had been done in the past and therefore will allow it to continue in the future. So that would be one negative that I would see in granting this permit. I'm also not, happy with the result of the parking that we're showing here at this point. I was hoping to see more based on our discussions of the other night. The reality, I believe, is there will ultimately be the same, close to the same number of people living in this building, whether it be a 1 or a 2, a 2 or a 3 unit, because of the fact that you're renting to students. And that brings me to the one thing that may push me over towards a positive view, and that is if it becomes a 3-unit, it requires sprinklers. Is that you? And from a public safety perspective, with a large number of students living in the building, I could see that as a plus. But I would still like to see some better abatement of the parking situation before I could say that I could fully support it, because I see there are as many, if not more, negatives to this request than there are positives. And that's my thoughts on the subject.
Thanks, Dick. I mean, the questions I had last meeting was if you could pick up 3 off-street parking spaces, then maybe that'd be a benefit. But to come in and only have the 2 and ask for, the 3-family with only the 2, I'm not in favor. I'll let you reply, but
Yeah, I have to, I think, I want to be fully accountable for anything I present here. And, when we visited the site, somehow what came out of it was, do a plan that has the 2 parking spaces, because I'm not sure how much you can mitigate by doing the demolition. I would say this, I'm still, regretfully, I don't have that with me, but I think in my discussion, I thought this is what I should come with. But, I mean, I certainly could make a presentation, and do I think I can get 3 parking spaces out of that? I'm pretty sure I could. Could I get a 4th? The best I can say is maybe, and that's just looking at the geometry, we'd have a rectangle of about 24 feet by 40. Again, the issue becomes, I'm not sure if you put it's like, do you put the cart before the horse, or, the chicken and the egg kind of thing, where if and I'm not sure I get the answer here. If we're gonna take the building down, I think we're still gonna be asking, the zoning board for relief on some of the aspects of the space in terms of you have to stay 5 feet from the house and 3 feet from the lot lines. And if that's acceptable to do that, then it's like, well, then let's do it. Maybe we only can go 3 feet from the house and ask for 2 feet on the lot line. So I'm not sure how that presentation should be made. In other words, if I'm saying, okay, look, we could put 3 spaces here, or maybe hopefully 4 spaces here, but it's gonna require that instead of 5 feet from the house, we can only go, say, 2 feet from the house. Is that okay? Like, I don't wanna try to be misleading, if we were to geometrically get that in there. I don't know if I'm clear on what I'm saying.
Yeah, we have applicants come in before us all the time who also need zoning board relief and say, once I get this permit, I'm going before the zoning board because I need variances for this, this, and this. That happens all the time. And we make, and it's almost like that means the city gets two bites at the apple, and you have to convince both boards. But yeah, that is, procedurally, that happens very often.
I have one more thing.
sure.
I mean, because as I look at it, I think you can, if that were to be removed, potentially, I think you can have like angled, you come in right here and you have angled parking, 1, 2, 3, possibly a 4th, but I'm not sure about the 4th.
And that's where we left off last meeting.
Yeah.
That's exactly where we
wanted
left
to
off.
say. I want to,
Exactly.
That's exactly where we left off. We're gonna knock it down, come in, put the parking spaces in this way, see if you can possibly pick up 3 or maybe 4. That's where we left
that's
off.
what we want to say.
That's what
I
we
think
asked.
it's important that you understand that, I mean, you're showing us, I guess, 2 parking spaces in the driveway, the stacked parking.
Right.
And historically, this board has frowned upon stacked parking. And generally have not supported it.
Okay.
So I mean, you're really trying to stretch this. All the amenities that you're talking about and illustrating are great, and we appreciate your effort, but you
But
gotta.
it doesn't do anything for
You
them.
gotta convince us that you got some parking here to support your development.
Well,
And I don't see it, so.
okay, if I could just back up just for a second. There's a lot of discussion, it seems like there's a lot of discussion about renting to students.
That was only one person, that doesn't concern me at all. That's only
Yeah, I
Mr.
don't care
Boyle's
who it
question.
is.
To me, it doesn't matter who you rent it to, who's owned.
Have the plan.
I have no
That-
problem with
that's all I
that,
was
because I know what the
gonna say.
laws are, I know how it's regulated.
Have the plan.
I know what relief you're asking from us, whether you have students there, elderly, to me, it doesn't matter. The question
Okay.
is, do you meet the element? To me, it doesn't matter if it's students or not.
Right, well, just to the board in general,
Because I know you said to us last time, you can't, you discriminate who you rent to, you have a realtor, you speak with them, they get your applicants, you screen them and you accept them. And tonight you said you're very careful on who you take, I understand all that, but
Okay.
to me, if it's a student issue, you can address that to other board members. To me, it's just a numbers thing, and with the numbers that you have for 3,360 square feet for three-family, that's not gonna change. Those numbers won't change no matter how you slice that lot. So to me, it's a number thing personally, but.
Okay. well, I guess I was just reiterating, I can't discriminate students or
Well, you told us that
anyone.
last time, I got all that, yep. That's on the record from last meeting.
Okay.
So, we got that.
I mean,
So, I mean, technically, when you told us last month, 2 weeks ago, that your last card you were gonna hold down was bring down that addition and maybe put the parking going in this way, and you'd possibly pick up that third spot. We asked Judy to look at it with you, and he said, we know you still might have problems with the parking, but if you could pick up maybe 3 spots to start, then you're looking 3 for 6, maybe there's a possibility. You come back, you say, well, I'm gonna go with 2, I'm gonna leave that up. So we were really, myself, I was looking at, see that angle parking coming in tonight, getting the plan, we're gonna have 3 minimum, and maybe look for relief. That's what I thought was pretty clear, because you even said, this is what will come in, see how we can put the parking in there. So when we got the plan tonight, just a 2, to be honest with you, I was kind of disappointed, because if I knew last time that you're gonna come in 2 stacked, I wouldn't even bother telling you to come back, in my opinion. But
could I make that presentation at a?
I'm sure, but I mean, that's how we left off last time, and
Okay. And
now we're back to where we began last time, and not where we left off last time.
My sincerest apologies.
No problem, no problem. I'm
because-
just thinking, you said you were gonna rip it down and put the angle parking in, and that's what you said you were gonna do, and then we get here tonight, and plans aren't that way, so I don't know what changed between 2 weeks ago and tonight. I mean, that's how we left it, and you said that's how you're gonna come back, and that's how you're gonna present it, so I don't know what changed in your mind in 2 weeks, but.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Sure.
Also, I think it's important to make clear, I'm looking at the hand-written, hand drawing here. It's not a plot plan. The scale isn't correct. I mean, I don't have a ruler with me, but I was just playing with some of the numbers. And, you said you're probably only gaining about 50 square feet.
I'm only talking about the footprint of the addition.
Yeah, but based on what you've got here, if this is 14 feet wide in this drawing, I mean, I'm looking at, you're picking up probably around 160 square feet. And the point is that you can't come back with a drawing like this. It's got to be a.
We can't vote on
something-
this drawing.
Yeah, yeah.
We
and-
could
and-
not approve this drawing if we tried.
Artist's
Yeah,
illustration.
so I think, personally, at this point, we gave you a bite at the apple on this one. And I'm, unless we had really a plot plan from an engineer, and even I'm looking at snow storage and any kind of open space, and I'm looking at this here, I'm gonna take you for your word. You measured it, it's 50 square feet. I'm assuming you're standing here being as forthright with us as possible. So if that's the case, and this isn't to scale, you're not gonna pick up an awful lot. And if you met out there with Judy, then there isn't an awful lot to gain. So from my perspective, I don't wanna drag it out for you. I'm prepared to vote up and down on it this evening, Mr. Chairman.
My point on the 50 square feet is that addition is approximately 10 by 10. And if we're not allowed to go up to the building, that's taken 5 feet of that 10 by 10, and that's where I got the 50 square feet. It might be 11 by 11 or 10.6 by 10.6 or something. So that's where that figure came from. If we're allowed to pull up to the building, then yeah, we're picking up the full, the whole area, and that does change it.
But again, we don't have anything that shows, I mean, there would have to be, for myself personally, and there've been numerous projects that have gone before the zoning board of appeals over the years, and I've followed that closely, and I went before the zoning board of appeals for years as the head of one of the neighborhood groups in the city. And certainly, they do make some allowances if some off-street parking can be gained. I can't speak for them at all, nor do I plan to. However, again, as I look at what you've got to work with, I went out to that site again. I was looking forward this evening to seeing something that possibly could make it work. Like I said, at the beginning of the last meeting, it really didn't look hopeful based on the existing conditions of that property and the lack of conforming with the dimensional requirements as it sits. And what you were asking really was a stretch. It was intriguing when you suggested taking down those porches, and I was really willing to see what you could come up with. This is extremely disappointing. It falls far short of what my expectation was. And from my perspective, the more I've had an opportunity then to review it and look at it, I just, you could come back here in 2 weeks. I'm just not convinced that at this point I'm going to see something that's going to make me allow for the approval of a third unit on this. Again, so I don't want to waste your time either. I just want
I
to
don't
make it clear.
consider this a waste of time. I consider this, it's part of the process, and, we're trying to make something, utilize the best potential and serve all the interests involved, so I don't think it's a waste of time for myself. Again, I apologize for, maybe I should have had a professional or something, but again, when we looked at this addition, it's like, well, we can't use 5 feet of it, so what are we accomplishing? But when Mr. Boyle said, how he explained it, when people come for exceptions, and that's for the zoning board to say, okay, yeah, you can do that.
And it's not a guarantee, we're not speaking for them.
understand
They
that.
could
No, no,
deny it, they could, I mean, and it really, but it has been weighed in the past as whether or not, what is the gain, and again, clearly that's what we would be viewing.
I realize, that what you say is no guarantee what they're gonna say, but I kind of thought like, gee, if you're not allowed to go 5 feet from the building, then we're not really gaining much here, so this is the best we can do. So I was thinking that, this board would say, oh, you can't go up 5 feet from the building. And that was a gross misjudgment on my part, because I didn't know that I can say, okay, we're gonna utilize this space, and then
And I'm not
zoning
saying-
would say yes or no.
And I'm not saying that would be acceptable either. I'm not saying that. And
Okay.
again, that's why we wanted to see what you could come up with. And that's why, from my, again, another 2 weeks to look at this, another 2 weeks to drive by the site, waiting to see what you're going to come up with, I have no problem voting up or
Okay.
down this evening on
I'd
this.
be glad to have that opportunity, because I consider it an opportunity.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, what's the request of the board?
Okay, why don't I start? I make a motion that we continue this for 2 more weeks until the next meeting.
I'll second the motion. For your next pass at this, I feel a little sensitivity to the neighborhood there, and I'd like to see the place redeveloped to, just for the sake of the neighborhood. And based on that, I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so how many we have in favor? We have
One.
Rich and Joe. Do we have anybody else in favor? Okay, that motion, I'm sorry,
No,
that motion does not carry. Do we have an alternative motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to deny the request for the special permit.
I'll second that.
Motion is made by Mr. Fischett to deny. We have a second by Bob Malovich. Anybody in favor of the denial? Chair votes yes.
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 So we have 3 in favor of denial and against.
No.
Okay, so the motion is approved for denial. The matter's denied. Good luck, sir.
So that means I'm done?
Yep.
We're done. Be right
Okay, moving
back.
along, the next matter will be Mammoth Road. Do we have anybody here from Mammoth Road? No? Okay, do we have anybody here from Plain Street? Okay. Come up to the... Huh?
Do I start?
In 1 second. Yep. Just, do you have any plans or anything you want to give us preliminarily or whatever?
Mammoth Road.
I'm gonna read the application in a minute, so I'm just curious, what project are you here for? Are you, okay, I just wanna make sure I didn't miss somebody. Okay. Okay, I just wanna make sure I didn't miss you, sir, okay, all right. So, okay, the next one is a pre-application session on 235 Plain Street. The following individual has requested the planning board to provide a preliminary review of the proposed project at the address listed above. This is not a public hearing. The planning board will render no decision related to the site plan review, nor guarantee any future discussion, whether positive or negative, on any project that receives pre-application review. The project proposes to divide the existing lot in construction, a single family, into a newly created lot. The application is currently shown will require special permit approval under section 5.1.10 of the City of Lowell zoning ordinance. The land is comprised of approximately 10,880 square feet of area and is located in traditional two-family zoning district. May we hear from the applicant? State your name, please, and the address for the record.
Tammy Rager, 235 Plain Street.
Okay, so tell us what you would like to do.
Okay, can I actually have my fiance do the talking?
Sure, just have him state his name and address for the record, yep.
All right, thank you.
Evening, gentlemen. My name is Richard Supanoir. I live at 25 Anderson Street. I actually own 25 Anderson Street, but I live with my fiancée at 235 Plain Street. Many times we've sat in the living room and looked out into the yard and wondered if we could actually build a single-family home. Currently living in an 18th century old home, and she said we should try it. We should take the first step to see if we could actually have a single-family home built in the yard. After doing a little research in the engineer department, come to find out that that lot was originally, had 2 lots on it. I don't know if I can present this to the board from the engineer.
Sure, do you have a lot for us to see? Sure. Sure. Do you have a current lot or something that you're proposing to do? Do you have a plan of what your proposal is?
Well, it was, because if the city told me no, we couldn't do it, then I wasn't gonna take the next step. I just wanted to see if the
Alright.
city would
Alright.
actually
Okay.
entertain the
No,
thought.
a lot of people come in, they give us a small type of plan and say, this is what I'm looking at doing. So we can kind of get an idea of what the project looks like, but,
We had documents, zoning board, Joe said he was gonna put them in the packet there, but
we got nothing.
we have nothing.
No, I got nothing.
Wellesley, did you get anything?
Copies?
We got nothing. So I don't know what Joe gave you. He gave us nothing. So we're all at a loss at the plan board. Usually we get a copy of a plan, and I came tonight, I asked everybody to get a plan, they're like, nope, so. Nope, we have nothing. So we have nothing what the lot looks like, we don't. All right, so you can show us what you have, because we have nothing. Usually, on some of these, we have a copy of what the lot looks like, where you are, what you're creating, what the zone looks like, and we have nothing, so.
No,
So,
okay, good.
okay.
I was afraid my son
you-
stole my mail.
Yeah, we even submitted pictures, this should be,
We have nothing. We got
We
absolutely
didn't
nothing.
get a packet.
So whoever you gave them to,
Physical packet.
didn't give them to us.
Joe actually scanned the pictures that I provided, and he said he was gonna put them in the packet. I actually have the pictures here also.
No, we don't have,
I got news for you. I didn't even get a packet.
I didn't get
Yeah.
a physical
Yeah, nothing.
packet.
We got nothing.
He said he was gonna put them in the file. to
They
present.
probably uploaded them onto the site.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't send it to the planning, to us, planning board, so I don't know why.
Can I present these pictures of the lot?
Sure. So I take it, are you in, I see 2 lots here, lot number 1, lot number 2, 7404 and 16,000? On this plan here, I see two lots.
Yep, she currently owns both of those.
Okay.
It's
So
Actually,
can you tell me what's on the number one lot?
yes, I can.
740, it has, I don't know, is it square foot, 7404? Square footage? No?
She currently owns lot number 1 and lot number 2.
Okay, so what's on lot number one?
Nothing, it's just yard,
Okay, what's on lot number two?
her house.
Okay,
That garage that physically exists right now,
Yes,
that and the house are on different lots?
nope,
So-
it's all the same lot.
Well, now it is because they were merged.
Yeah,
Yes, they were merged. Where,
right, but when you're talking about your lot number 1 and lot number 2,
no, back in 1887, there were 2 lots
okay, yeah, okay.
that were combined to 1 lot. We wanted to see, after doing a little bit of research, we found out that lot number 2 was 6,600 square feet, which we fell into the parameters of the minimum requirements for a single-family home. You needed 6,000 square feet.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask, just for clarification too, because in the notice for our agenda had the wrong square footage as well. So we found out this evening it was 10,880 square feet. Does that include, what does that include? Is that the lot as it exists today?
Correct.
So then you're going to parcel off a 6,000 square foot lot to meet the zoning, and you have a lot that's only 4,880 square feet
Or
somewhere.
if we could conform to the old
Well,
square footage of the
No, that's stretching.
lot number
but
2,
what size is that going to be, 4,000?
6,600,
That's the
lot
first,
number 2,
lot number 2, what's lot number 1 going to be then?
actually.
I'm just trying to understand, 'cause bear in mind, we didn't have anything prior to coming
I
here.
apologize for that. I said-
And we didn't have the correct square footage, so.
So lot number 2 currently, lot number 1 and lot number 2 is 1 lot.
Right, and that's a total of 10,000?
Correct.
800, so you're gonna have, what
6,000,
sizes,
you gotta have
what size are both lots going to be?
If we can conform to the existing.
Can you
lot
just give me
size,
square footage, please? Thank you.
6,610,
Okay,
and the other, apologize, 4,270, it looks like.
okay.
Can't tell.
All right, so it's that, it's, in what lot is the 4,200 and,
Yes, that would be her existing home now.
Okay.
so that's going to be lot number 1? Is that what you're
That
referring
is
to?
lot number 2.
Lot number 2, okay.
Do you have this paper here?
Oh, no, that's not it, that's not it.
So usually we got a pre-app, we got some type of mortgage plan, that, and reason why we give you a mortgage plan, we accept those is because most people have them when they
Maybe it's
when they
not
borrow
there
money from the bank, so we don't make them go out and do a new one.
Sit under there.
So if they showed us the 2, then they send it to us, we look at it, we go out, we look at the site, we have an idea what's going on, but tonight we don't have that benefit. So usually, if you have, it would show us what's on one lot, and what's on the other, and how you're gonna put them together. So. And that's why we allow people to use their mortgage plot plans instead of going out and having somebody else create a new one for them. So I say, so what's the relief they're looking for anyways? Is it the frontage, or is it the lot requirement, or both, or?
They're basically looking at area, and they will have to go before the zoning board of appeals to if it doesn't require, meet the minimum lot area. So they're basically looking to subdivide it
Yeah.
with a driveway coming through the middle of the lot so that both the houses can be accessed from the driveway, and trying to keep the existing garage.
So they're gonna try to use a common driveway for both lots?
Yes.
That's actually incorrect, I apologize.
No, okay.
If it was gonna be subdivided down the middle, it'd be a fence in the middle, one lot number. Lot number 2, where her house is, it would have a driveway on the left-hand side. There'd be a fence separating both driveways, separating both properties.
have any other pictures? When you bring them up, anything can help.
How about a preliminary plan or something, you know?
Just give the pictures.
Yeah, what else do you have, Richard? Do you have any drawings that aren't included in this? So this is the piece here.
It's hard to make a judgment.
Okay, all right, all right. This one? That'll be in there, okay. Can you come forward? I think we have that one. I think it's this one here. So let me just, this one here we're talking, Mitch?
What?
This one here? Okay, yeah, okay, all right, this is better now, at least we get some idea, okay. So, the house now is currently on Lot 2? Where the existing home is?
Yes, it's
Okay.
on lot two.
Okay, so, right now, this is all one lot?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
What I gotta do is come down this line,
Correct.
do a fence, you said?
Yes. right
Okay.
down the center.
Okay. And then, so, no problem. If he has it, he should have sent it to us, don't worry.
3 different diagrams.
Okay, no problem. So, I mean, this, at least we have something to work with, okay? So we get the concept now, okay? So, then this one would be the 6,710 square feet, this one would be 4,270,
4270.
okay? And you got 55 foot of frontage and 52, and is this something on this lot now?
That is the garage,
That's the
Okay.
garage, yeah.
which I would like to keep on the new lot, lot
Right.
number 1.
Okay.
All right, so, and then,
What about the
Build up.
driveways? What about the driveway?
Driveway says, I wish I had the diagrams.
With a fence, I mean, you got,
The fence would be right here down the center.
Yeah.
right.
And the driveway would be on this side.
Yep.
There's a little bump out right here, would stop, come off 3 feet, 3 feet. Right here, it's like 18 feet long, and I wish I had the diagram.
Okay, so-
Also all drawn in. Here's
Yeah.
one right here.
Yeah, let's see, that's a, well, it makes them a turn.
Yes, yes. Now, prior to me finding out that it was divided way back when, these were my original drawings. The fence.
That's
the driveway
existing.
Right here, that's the existing house,
Okay, all right, now we can see it, yeah.
and this is what I'd like to propose. And have a driveway come in, farmer's porch, house, either driving, I mean, not, whatever the city would allow, I just,
Yeah,
yeah,
all right,
I mean,
okay.
that,
And then similar situation over here. Driveway.
the distances are different, because I didn't know that it was subdivided, so I went off that.
All right, and you got 4,260,
Okay, so you're,
whatever that, 6610 here,
and then what's the other?
42, it's on there, 4220.
on the frontage, 52 and 50.
Oh, the frontage,
That was
Yeah.
before I had the,
yeah, all right, I can see it now.
53, 6,
So you'd be
Right.
looking for somebody
this
that's
would be the more realistic 70 feet. Because I got these off of the engineer department.
okay. They may
But then it would,
need,
This was before I went to the engineer department.
but then it wouldn't have it here. This board is allowed to give you a special permit, which brings frontage down to 55 feet from 70. And you can get 55 from 1 and 53,
What is frontage here?
so that would have to be the variance instead of through us.
My original plan was to go to the zoning board said go to the planning board first, because I carried more weight than the zoning board.
Well, minimum frontage in the chart, minimum frontage in the chart is
you only say that when it's
55.
beneficial to them.
Can you say that in the microphone?
I said it loud enough, they heard it, yeah.
Minimum frontage in the chart here is 55 feet,
Right. So you-
right here,
minimum
TTL,
frontage is 55.
single-family dwelling, 55 feet.
You got a different chart than I do.
Proposed addition, I would have to make this one 55.
It should be
I'm showing 70.
What chart they have, but my mind behind me.
Jesus, maybe I got an old book here, but
Yeah.
that's the only one I got.
I printed this one out, you know, well, when I joined the board, you know, so a couple months ago.
I bet my book is old.
Yes, didn't they increase all of the frontages by 15 feet and then let us vary it back down?
Oh, amended October,
Oh, yeah, I bet, all right,
Amended
I
October
haven't got the
26th.
updated sheet here.
amended October 13th of,
Yeah.
October of 2013, what's that
All
one?
right, this is older than that.
Yeah, okay, that's amended 2009.
Nine.
Okay.
I gotta make a note of that because
I downloaded this off
Yeah.
the website.
Oh, right off, you got it right off the website. All right, I gotta do that.
I just asked Swathi to make sure you get a new one.
Oh, he says you can download it right
Oh,
off.
yeah, if you want, yeah.
That's where I got this.
Right, right. Where, the thing is, whatever else has passed since then.
Yeah, I do remember all that, but
Yeah, you probably do. You could probably walk
Yeah,
through each of the
that's
zoning
right.
Amendments since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, but the question is, like he says, if that's, can we bring down the minimum frontage?
all right, I gotta go do that.
5, and if one's left on the other. No, the frontage is up here, that's the rear. See how it chips out in the back tick? Yeah, it's, see how it starts going on the angle? Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. We can go down to 55, they need a variance, right? Yeah. Hmm? Well, I think we go by what they're requesting, what they're requesting is to keep one single and add another. I mean, so, they want a single, so. It's a, I hate the one driving shit.
Yeah, but I'm saying that we don't have to worry about losing the two parking spaces. When we do the two parking spaces, we're losing. Do any of the other houses along that stretch have driveways?
Across the street,
On the other side of the street,
some do, some do not.
because you have a pretty good driveway on that lot where that garage is in the back, huh? Yeah. Yeah, so that number picture 2, right, that's the driveway you're talking about? I mean, there's the, this is what you want to keep, right, Richard?
Yes,
Okay, so then you have a nice driveway getting in there, which is nice, so you don't have the issue about the off-street parking, because you'll have the driveways and you have plenty of room here, right?
new house would be over here, would
Yeah,
have their
would-
own driveway, and
Yeah.
this one, the new driveway for this.
And you're gonna leave this here for these people?
Correct,
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's pretty good shape, is it, would you say?
yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so might as well keep it if you can, right?
Save money on
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, yeah, if it's in good shape and people already,
It's in good shape, why not?
yeah.
So if you kept that, you would still put another garage unit into your house?
No, that was originally, I was gonna have that garage removed after thinking about it, like, I could have more living space,
Mhm.
eliminate the garage,
Mm.
drive in.
Right.
And I thought about it, I'm like, we keep that one, just come straight into the driveway and go right in,
Mhm.
change the garage door,
Yeah,
you keep
yeah.
the existing garage in the new house. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
This is all gonna be, the first step.
That's all.
Well, now you,
No, usually if we had these to begin with, we
Leave
would have.
smarter.
So, but we're getting
Yeah,
there.
I think it's a little unfortunate the way it
Yeah,
turned out for
yeah.
you.
And if you submit them, we're not blaming you. We'll
Yeah.
speak with staff and see why they didn't get to us, but, because I mean, at least here we have an idea of,
Well, you
you
can
know,
tell now.
some of these plans we see, and we have an idea what you're looking at. I mean, so, a couple of concerns that we're talking about is, one is, you might need, you know, first thing would be, if you need the 55-foot frontage, like I said, we can give, it's 70, we can reduce it down to 15 if it's consistent with the neighborhood. Okay, so what we do is we usually look at all the houses around
Right.
in the neighborhood, and we
Good
look to
point.
see if the front is consistent with what everybody else has. So what happened was, they didn't like what some person did, so they changed it on everybody throughout the city. But they gave us a little bit of a special permit so we can reduce it from the 70 down to 55. So if you didn't have the 55 on the frontage on one of them, that's where you would need a variance from the zoning board of appeals. You need a building on both.
You need it.
Right here or here. So a lot of times what people do is make it conforming on one and then ask for relief on the other instead of trying to look for relief on two. You hear what I'm saying? So here, if you had the 55, you would be okay. So you'd be looking for it here. We can only go down to 55, us. The zoning board could go down a little more.
Could I ask for 55 on the new house and
Yep.
on the existing house?
You could do it, it'd be all the way to, it'd be how you cut that line. Because if it's all, do you have it all together in one deed so far?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're gonna break it up, it would be the person who did your plot plan, your architect would come out, he'd have to angle it so you'd have the 55 on this one instead of that one. Yeah.
Yeah, the frontage.
But he'd really have to submit an application for the whole project, so whether this one's 55 or this one's 55, procedurally, it wouldn't gain him anything to make one or the other the one that needs the relief. He'd still have to come in for a, more for part preference, actually. What's that?
If he had the new approval of the new construction site, might it be an easier process to get the relief on the existing property? I would like
I
a
don't
new
see
property.
I don't see how the process would be any
Yeah.
different. I don't see how the process would be any different. It'd still have to come.
I mean,
before us,
yeah.
and go before the zoning board. There might be some changes in.
It'd be basically
what
up to
number-
yourself which one.
Yeah, it's really a personal preference.
So,
I would
yes,
like the new house to have the 55.
I mean, for you, if you're gonna try to sell it, you'd wanna do that and keep that yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, if you put
yeah.
what I'm saying there, but if you're selling them both off, it's,
Well, no, we'd like to move into the new one
yeah.
and sell this one off. The existing house is an 1800s home, it's just sort of old.
Yeah.
But she had never lived in the home, she was living in the new construction.
Okay, so you'll be keeping the new one with the garage and everything, okay?
Yes.
All right.
You plan on living in Lowell.
Okay, because then, let's see, if you did,
I don't know if I've ever seen an infill project as consistent with established character.
and the other question, if this is 6, 6, 10, you could make that 6 and bring this up and you're almost close to 5. And you pick up another 600 on that, 610, so you're gonna have, yeah, 1,000, but then you're gonna pick up the 10, so you're gonna have 80, so you're gonna have 4, 8, 80. If you went 6 minimum here. See, the main thing we like to do, Richard, is at least keep one of them conforming, you know what I mean? So like, sometimes people come in, if they need 6,000, they break them down, they want 55 on one, 55 on the other, so you know, you'd like to have at least one of them be the 6,000.
Yeah.
So you can change this line any way you want, you could, if you kept this 6,000, add the 610 over here. Now, your relief here is less because now you're picking up 610, so the 610 here, you can go up to 4880.
I'll do whatever the city allows.
No,
I'm
yeah.
just thinking if this, if we were gonna live here,
Yeah.
I'd have the biggest lot as possible.
Yeah.
And give the people that rent some homes to,
Yeah.
small.
Yeah, but I mean, for 610 feet, what it's gonna be here, it's gonna be how you draw this line, and then how you draw that line is gonna affect how you get your frontage. You know, so you could either angle it, or make it, you know,
And it
whether
dictated
it
by the
comes here,
garage,
or
too.
say if it went like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just, but that's when you'd sit down with actually, someone to do the plot plan, you know, everything else, they can really work the numbers and figure out how you're gonna do that, but. So the main thing for us would be, we'd have to look at, come in would be, to get it down to the 55, you need a special permit for the frontage. And what we do on that is what Mr. Fischette was alluding to earlier, is we look at all the other houses in the neighborhood and see if they basically have the same type of frontage as what you have. So if everybody had 70 and you wanted 55, it'd be difficult. If you have 70, if you have 55 and all the other neighbors have the 55, which was what it was way back then, some of them, if they're so old, and part of that area
Yeah,
is,
very consistently, so.
if they have 40, and if they all have 50, it's conforming to the neighborhood, then that's where they, I believe, can be sought. You know?
All right,
So the main thing would be, you know, what they have, so what we do is. Yeah, oh, some of them would, yeah.
Yeah, but those don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Payton Street,
Yeah, there's a big, there's. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a lot different. Jeez. Excuse me.
Here is that even requiring variances and things, what he's proposing in terms of the lot sizes is consistent with the neighborhood character. That's positive. Yeah.
There's a 2015, 34, 25, 27, 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I mean, over here.
So
you
what
got
these
30
are here,
Adjacent to
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
35.
so these are mostly, really, up these houses here, are long and narrow, right? I mean, so that's why they're all built up, yeah. So that would be your argument to say, you know, that's why, you know, for the special permit to reduce it down to the 55, and even if you went to the zoning board of appeals, because it's consistent with the neighborhood, and I want to be consistent with the neighborhood, and on the special permit, it does, we have to bring to consideration neighborhood character. So you could say, you know, I do have 55, but it almost doubles what everybody else has in the neighborhood. You would have to get an engineer, get some certified plans, and then come either back before us for a public hearing.
Does this even look feasible? Did I spend money on an engineer to get it shut down?
See, on these, what happened pre-app, we can't tell you that, because what happens is, once you give us the plans, it goes out to 7 department heads, and they all comment on it. So we don't know what they're gonna say to come back with us, you know? But I mean, it's not unrealistic what you're asking for, let's put it that way. I'm not saying you're gonna get it, but I'm just saying it's not unrealistic. I would say so. Yeah, you need somebody who has to give us, first of all.
You need a
Because what they have
professional.
to do is they have to come in and give the certified plans, because without the certified plans, we can't even act on it, then they meet the prerequisite as requirement under the plans. And the plans, so what they would do is they would show you basically what the existing is and break it up, and then how they're gonna do the 2 lots, and they can change that lot either way. And then if you came before us, if we gave you, if you had approval from us, you could always go to the Board of Appeals later, excuse me, to get the variance for the frontage, because any condition that we put on a project piggybacks over to the ZBA. So whatever condition we put on, when they get it, it's, all our conditions remain, so whatever they do is an additional condition. So they can't shoot down any conditions that we put on first, okay? So the main thing would be, you know, figure out exactly how much lot you want on each one, how much land you want, you know, because when it comes before us on the new one, like even on this, on the new plans, what we have to look at, say this is the frontage, so now we need the rear yard, the side yard, the front yard. On this one, if it's existing, do you have any idea how much land, how far you are between? 5 feet? So there you'd be non-conforming, but the house is already built there, because what it is, it's usually like, say for example, a single family, it's a 25, you need a total of 25, a minimum of 10. So if you had 10 here, you'd need 15 here, but you could do 12 and 12 and a half, whatever. So that'd be existing, so whatever you want to put in here, but you wouldn't have to be, unless you're not gonna be building the house, right? I mean, because you're staying here. You're gonna build on here. So if you get the approval, you can come in and build what you want, but you have to meet all those requirements, so they won't give you the building permit. Because then you need to ask for the same here for the garage, 'cause I'm sure that's less than 10 feet, right? This is less than 10 from the lot line? Yeah, so, but that's an existing, and this is existing, right? Right.
Now, do I have to conform this with the new
Yeah, setback from the street?
setback? Now, it's gonna look strange for the,
Yes,
because all
Yeah.
the other ones are only like 4 feet off
Yeah.
the sidewalk.
But you have to do the existing setback, yeah,
or seek yet another
yeah.
variance.
But I mean, moving back, how many
Right.
feet is it?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yeah, if you're consistent within the neighborhood, you know, dimensionally, that helps. Yeah, that would, if you can work it that way.
Basically 12 feet back. Well, isn't too far. You think of
I'm
it?
not gonna, I can't.
Yeah, so you could do maybe 12 feet back, and if you want to do a porch, you can bring it to 9.
Yeah, something.
That would be consistent.
It's 15 feet. Yeah, 15 feet, and then with the projections are 12, so 15 feet.
So off the existing property line, I'd have to come 15 instead of 10? On the front yard side. Oh, front yard? Front yard side,
So far back from the street, yeah.
15 feet. On the side?
The side
Yeah, this is
is
good,
10,
15
some 25. That means
So-
And there, and
a 10 and a 15.
10 minimum.
Yeah, so you can't have two tens, so when you add both sides together, you have at least 25.
Yeah.
But, so you can have 10 and 15, for example, or you can have 12 and 13, but yeah, those total, with a minimum of 10 per side. So if you had one, yeah, so you'd have to have at least 10 here, because if you're gonna build a new one, they're not gonna give you relief because you have the land to do it. You know, if this here would be an existing, if you were shot there, they wouldn't make you tear it down and put a new one in, unless you bypass us and did it anyways, then we caught you, then we could tell you to rip it down. Some people do that, they, you know, like your kids, they come back for forgiveness later, you know,
Right.
hoping that you're asleep when they come in, but, you know. Yeah, yeah. So, you know, and depending on what, yeah,
Excuse me.
but you'd have more than 15 over here, but that's what you'd have to, you know, sit down with an engineer and they could tell you exactly what you need. Because what they have is, they have all our regs and everything else, and they have all these charts, and what they do is they put a chart, like, let me show you. Here's what an engineer would come in with, like. See, they would come in with a lot like this and tell you how many square footage it is, how far back it's gonna be, where the locus is gonna be. They've certified it, put everything in here, telling you what's existing, what's not existing. So plans simple like this, I mean, this one's by, you know, we can't do that.
Talk to Judy, talk to Judy.
Yeah, you know, all you can talk to, I mean, we kinda give
Talk to
advice on
Judy.
that, but I don't, Judy couldn't either.
Oh, no, she
Legally, no.
can't, that's
no.
right, yeah.
And that's, a lot of lawyers
right,
would
yeah.
know, who do this type of work, and speak with them as well. Yeah, I mean, that's the way to, yeah,
What they'll end up doing, they will have to do this dot in
yeah.
area.
And then they,
That's gonna be
Nobody can do that.
What-
maximum.
what they'll do is they'll even give you some more options of what you can do. And then, and so, on the chart, they'll tell us, you know, what the zoning is, what relief is requested, you know, what's existing on one, what's not, and what is required by the city, and either not thereof and all that stuff on the chart. And it has to be certified by the engineer.
But I need, at least need 10 and 15.
Hold on a second about the 15. Section 5.2.6, exceptions to yard requirements, paragraph 1. In all residential districts, the front wall of a dwelling structure may conform to the average setback of the front walls of the dwelling structures on the lots adjacent thereto on either side. So we have our front yard setbacks, but if you have, but we don't want, it is not, it is in policy, we don't want to have one house built that, you know, when you have a strong established character along the street, we don't want one house to be significantly out of character with it. And so, yeah, the minimum is 15, but there's this exception, because, you know, when the zoning,
Is that a request for a waiver by us, the ZBA, or which one is it? I'm not sure.
it's allowed.
You would take the average front yard of this and this, plus it's in the middle.
The average
These
front,
guys, if I came back 15 feet, it would definitely be our place. Because these ones are only like 5 feet
Yeah.
off the side.
I agree with,
Yeah, and that's where the engineer would have that stuff. And a lot of this stuff here, what I used to use is the tax book. Like, look at the tax book, and it tells you what everybody's square footage is.
Right.
Actually, it's
The
also a good place as a
assessor's book,
lawyer to look
yeah.
at the title resource.
the second, yes, you're definitely going to need a lawyer to sign for this. In no case may any part of the preceding provisions of this section be used to allow an existing building to extend nearer to any street line or building that had been previously, extend nearer to any street line or building line that had been previously established on a given lot. Okay, there seems to have been a typo in that, but I think it's reading to say, that tells you you can do the average of the two, except you can't get any closer than a building that had been previously established on the lot. So was there a house on this before?
No.
There has never been a house on this before? Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, would the
position of the existing house figure into this discussion?
Technically, what on the lot?
Technically, it's, the language is on adjacent lots.
Yeah,
And
well,
I guess
that's,
that depends on whether.
that
he
would be an
subdivides
adjacent
before or
lot
after.
after he gets it
Can't draw
divided.
that line until he gets his permit, so it would be this one and this one. Because that wouldn't be adjacent
Yeah,
lot to later.
right,
And those are way forward.
5 feet, so it's not 5, yeah.
Plus, the other thing, if you
That's-
get with the engineer and you bring your information into planning staff, they will sit and go over all this stuff with you before it comes before us. And they can, and they will pull up the code and interpret it and tell you what the recommendation is. They'll give us a recommendation on it. And if we have a question on any of the interpretation, a lot of time we'll just ask them to check with the law department. Actually, one of our senior people in the law department, assistant city planner, is one of the attorneys who just came from the law department, so he's very good at that, Eric Slagle. So a lot of times he'll look at it and tell you, yeah, this is the interpretation on that there, and they can answer that question for you. We have to meet with them and staff when you bring the plans in, and have to sit down and go with them, the engineer. And once they draw them up, you know, then, once you have that plan, then they can discussion with it. If you want to vary it, then the person who drew the plan can change the plan very quickly once they have it on there, sketch it in the office, you know, they can push things here, push that there, move that here, make things work. But basic concept is the layout, what your proposal is, and everything of that nature.
Attorney and an engineer, or just an engineer with?
Usually attorneys are cheaper than the engineer, but.
Depends who you hire.
Yeah, you know, you get somebody who's knowledgeable in this stuff,
You're gonna
they don't have to research as much.
get this done.
Yeah, especially because now,
So your best interest to be.
yeah,
Yeah, really it is.
because then if you have any legal documents to be drawn up, and then you're gonna subdivide it, you're gonna have to create 2 different lots, you're gonna have to go to the registry of deeds, you're gonna need someone to do the square footage, you're gonna have to do the meets and bounds, you need the description. You know, so lawyers, you're gonna need a lawyer for that, one way or another, down the road if it gets approved.
So this project is not far-fetched.
I'm not, like I say, it's not,
No, I don't
no,
think.
it's not, I mean, like I say, it's not totally unreasonable. I mean, it has a lot of good concepts, to be honest with you. The fact that, you know, you have a good,
Revenue for the city.
yeah, but this is a good-sized lot here. I mean, usually, ideally, you'd want the 6 and the 6 is what the ideal would be, you know? Then the question is, say, you know, they're saying, well, we could live with the 6 and bring that up to 5, make it closer so it's more conforming. That's not, that was something that was a stickler point anywhere along the road by either us or the other board. That's why you can always just change that little line right there, and then when they record it, because then you're asking for less relief. You know, the more or less relief you can ask for, the better chances you get of approval. Because if we deny something, we have to shoot it down for a particular reason. And then, you know, they can look at it, you know, so like I say, if we can't get the 55 on each, and you get on the 1, then they have to go for the variance, but they would have you come here first anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Right.
some of the stuff that you're asking for, I think the biggest thing that you heard from most of us tonight is what you have across the street, what their frontage is. You know, so if you look for that relief to get it down to 55 in the variance, the main thing we look for. If everybody else, you know, hit 70, be honest with you, or 65, and you want to come down to 55, it'd make your case a lot harder.
Yeah.
It'd be a much bigger sell.
Sure.
Can I raise one related point to that? Your big, clearly, your big strength here is consistent with neighborhood character. I want to be consistent, this will be consistent with neighborhood character, it's a small. You need to keep that concept in mind, however, with the design of the house. We don't want a house that looms over its neighbors. We don't want a house which is grossly out of scale with what's there. We don't want a house which is, you know, maintain the consistency with neighborhood character. You know, it works to your advantage in the shape of the lots. You need to be consistent with neighborhood character in the design of the house too. There's a style, and quite frankly, you know, with the way that when you do infill projects like this, if it's consistent, a new home that's been nicely built and is consistent and reflects back the character of the neighborhood, it's good for the neighborhood. It affects the way the whole neighborhood looks. People think, you know, oh, building in this style and being consistent with this, it's actually a desirable thing that people like, and it makes those older houses, it's good for those older houses. You know, I'm not making my point very clearly here. You want your design your house to be consistent with neighborhood character.
Even though all those houses are so old, they look.
Well,
They look historic. They look like they have.
Well, in terms of size and, you know, general look,
Yeah.
If I did
Yeah.
go with this little farmer's bush, no one has a farmer's
Yeah.
bush on the, on the lot.
Yeah, no one has it right.
just
This is where,
mass
this is
and,
where you need to get a design to comes in, because we're not asking you to make a replica of a, we would never do that, we don't want replicas. We don't want replicas.
yeah, just be reasonable about the design, that's all, and the materials.
But we want a house that is respectful and those 150-year-old cottages and reflects the very best of what's already there. You can incorporate that, reflect the very best back into the neighborhood.
Here's the thing, it's current property.
Thinking ahead,
So you
though.
better get it right. Yeah. Speak to attorney about other things, I guess. But, so. So, I mean, basically, that's the stuff you'd have to work with. I mean, so,
It's a deal, yeah.
we don't tell you on the pre-application if it's good or bad. We asked some questions, raised some issues. I think the issues you heard from us would be, look at that, try to make it consistent. Yeah, so, I mean, those are the things you'd have to look at, but I think, and then, if you get the engineer come in to speak with planning staff, and they can throw some ideas out, tell you what you're missing and what you could do to help make it even more conforming. A lot of times they'll give you ideas to help it work better.
Yeah, work with them.
Constructive
Help you
criticism, as
out.
we call it,
Yeah.
Like, think of doing it this way, you don't need as much. Or let's limit down what the only relief that you do need. If you can live it this way, then just eliminate that and that, and then if we're stuck with, we can give you 55, and you need the other 2.5 feet, you have to go before the zoning board of appeals for that variant. But I think when you have the big lot like that, kind of really helps you,
Yeah,
really helps you. I mean, if you have a small lot,
something to work with there.
Well, where I'm keeping the garage, if I was to make this bigger, wouldn't that make the square footage larger and
yeah, then you make it that smaller, yeah. So so the question there was, we'd look at, what are all the other square footages on the houses up there, because you're really supposed to have a 6,000 here. So he's gonna need the variance from this one anyway. So you're gonna need a variance on this.
But he'd be permitting both lots with a single application anyway. So asking for another variance for this versus asking for another variance for this, and, it should really be what's the best design,
Yeah.
not what's the best permitting process,
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, really should
I
be.
mean, I think a lot of times it's tough to get, you wanna have at least one that has the 6,000. Because if you don't, then you have two you're going from one conforming to two non-conforming, which is, hasn't been consistent.
Potentially a tougher sell, yeah.
Yeah, and potentially it hasn't been approved too often.
Speak to the engineer, I'll tell him that I need 55 in the front of the new.
Well, he'll have the chart, he'll know it.
You'll know what the requirement
Anybody who's in,
Should,
if anybody who draws that up for you, they're gonna go to that table requirement, because they have to put that table right on the plans they submit to us. So they know what the table requirement is.
Right.
So you tell them, say, one of the questions the board talked about was, the frontage requirement. Yeah. No, because what happened is, you need the 70, and we can waive it to 55. Is this your copy here? This one yours? Yeah. Yeah, you can have that one, so.
And then really, this is the existing structure, looking for the waiver or variance on this frontage actually puts this structure more in line even with what's across the street, because those are much less than 55 feet. So you'd have your new lot conforming, and this pre-existing condition, which already doesn't meet conformity, would actually be more in line with what's already there anyway. So,
Yeah.
I mean, again, just give you
Just, and that's some of the ideas that the engineer and staff will throw back at you, which way to go. So the main question, that'll be the frontage, but I mean, anybody who's gonna draw it up, they pull that chart right up, they can go over that chart, they put the chart right on
right on the plan.
on the
yeah.
plan, they show what's existing and what they're looking for. So we look at, and then they
They
show
can
what
tell
relief you
right
look
away.
for, and they'll know that you need a special permit for that.
Two proposals, or would they just do a 55 and?
It's up to yourself. Sometimes people do come in with two. What they have to do, though, when we advertise it as one. You say, this is one plan we have, and if you're not happy with this, we have this one as an alternative. Yeah, and then sometimes working with staff, they'll tell you what's the benefit of the two. And then sometimes you come to us, we like this one, and you both say, well, we like that one a little better, So that's something, after discussing it further with other parties, you'll be able to eliminate that down a little bit more. but I think, you know, it's, like I say, it's not totally out of what you asked is not totally unrealistic with some things we look at. Like some of the things we just see, like, up to begin with, they don't look that good, but this, it may work. I'm not saying it's totally gonna work, because you have to go into another board besides that if you don't get the frontage, but if you can get that frontage, right? So, yeah, I mean, they'll know this stuff right off the bat. I mean, like they say, you know, just several of them come before our boards. I mean, do that, and you watch us some night when we have one of the engineers here, you can see if they're any good or not. See what their track record is, you know? Some present better than others, some are, you know, some can draw better than others, but some do favorably, you know, or just ask around anybody, you know, but we can't give recommendations out, you know, it's like, you know, because then you come in and say, oh, they told me to get this guy, and then they shoot us down. Oh, we get this guy, gee, how come all his passes and the other guys don't, you know? So it's, yeah.
And once you get a design pattern in, start the DPD as early in the process as possible.
Yeah,
It's much
get some
cheaper
input
to
from them.
incorporate design principles into the first draft than to redesign after you get criticism.
But the first thing they'll do is draw up exactly what you have. Yeah, and then you go from there, yeah. So from here, we don't vote on it, we just give you some of that feedback what we had tonight, and then you can,
Once I have plans drawn from the engineer, then I come to.
plenty of stuff. So then you have to take out the application and do all that, and, yeah, and they'll work with you on that, they'll give you the application, and lobbyist right on the web and all that stuff, and yeah, and the applicants will always know that procedure down pat. Yeah, okay? Wish you well, good luck.
Yeah, good night.
Good luck. Yeah. This house it is. You want this? We don't need this, right? No. This is on, mine was on the horn. You can have these plans too, Richard, okay? We don't need these, because you'll be coming back with other stuff. Good luck, okay? Good luck. Good night. Okay. Okay, so moving along, back to the agenda, so Leslie, the only thing I have, we have Mammoth Road. I know we got an email from Judy saying they were gonna withdraw, but they said they were gonna be here tonight.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
they do.
I'm not sure. I checked my email till 6 o'clock. I haven't heard anything further. So you can choose to continue the item because of absence of the applicant being present.
Shoot it down, we can approve it, we can.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, because there were a lot of concerned abutters, and I think
Mhm.
probably word got out that they was withdrawing. So I would hate to continue it and put the abutters through that again, but although I would have preferred to have the applicant.
Yeah, because we were told,
Yeah,
I mean, we didn't receive anything in writing that they were withdrawing,
Coming, yeah.
and I know Judy sent me an email, you know, indicating, you know, that there was 2 requests for continuance and 1 request to withdraw, and they were gonna be present tonight. Because we don't even have anything in writing saying they're gonna withdraw.
From an administrative perspective, if you receive a denial on a project on a site, are you not allowed to come back with anything on that site for the 2 years?
No,
Not a similar one.
not similar.
Not similar,
They can bring in something different, yeah.
okay.
Swati, did they formally withdraw from the zoning board of appeals?
I don't think so. I think they're starting with the planning board.
Oh, okay.
So
They were supposed to be by the zoning board of appeals last Thursday night
Yeah, that's what I,
to withdraw.
my
Where,
understanding.
Oh,
where are
did
we
they make that?
timing?
So they were supposed, I don't know, they were supposed to be before the zoning board of appeals last Thursday night to withdraw. I don't know if they did or not. Did they show up?
I believe they sought continuance.
They, continuance?
Yeah.
She said in her emails that they withdrew, right?
That they were gonna come tonight and withdraw?
Yeah,
Withdraw. So
that's
they're
what
not
I
here, but they're
remember,
not. So it's up to us to either vote for it or against it, I don't know. It's on the agenda. Right? Because they asked to be on the agenda for June 1, and they told us, for the last meeting, they said they'd come this meeting and ask to withdraw. If they were present to begin with, I would have taken that ahead of Walker Street. So,
Should we continue then? Just to,
I don't, if it's outside the time requirement, we continue it, then it's approved.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
my
yeah.
question. Where are we on that time requirement?
because they signed off last time to have it continued to tonight.
They did?
Yep.
Oh, then clearly
Yeah,
we
they
need
did.
another
They did.
signature to continue.
So they
the beginning,
continued to tonight.
where they get constructed.
So if we don't have the sign off, and we continue it, that means we approved it.
No way.
So,
This is unofficial, this one up for a piece.
Do you have the email from Judy? I did not see a letter from them seeking, Judy mentioned that she got an email from them that they're planning to attend the meeting to seek, withdrawal without prejudice.
we have an email that says that on the zoning board of appeals, on 5/28, they let them withdraw without prejudice.
Yeah, tonight's email says, today's email says that Mammoth Road will be at the meeting to request a withdrawal.
Yeah, that's what I remember reading that, sure.
So Swati, it was withdrawn from the zoning board of appeals?
Yes, it was.
Okay, that's what the communication I had here, but, all right.
I, for one, would be very pleased with an outcome that would allow them to come back with a substantially different project, but not with a substantially similar project.
And I believe that's what the discussion has been going forward with, a completely different.
Okay. I'll make a motion that, on 339 Mammoth Road, to allow the applicant to withdraw without prejudice.
I'll second the motion.
Motion's made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion carries. I think that clarifies everything.
Yeah,
I think that's the request, that's what they got at the zoning board of appeals, so.
Right, I'm wondering, though, if,
They're coming back with a new plan.
right, do we have a formal, if we don't have anything formal from them asking to withdraw without prejudice, can we make them withdraw without prejudice? And
Either we deny it.
Exactly.
I'm making a motion that the application be withdrawn without prejudice. And so, if they don't like
I'll
that,
second it, yeah, I think that makes sense.
And I believe the
either we can deny it, so they can come back and make any relief they don't like. If they don't like, they can file a suit and take us to court.
I believe the email communication we have with their, intention to come to seek is good.
Okay.
So, I think there might have been some communication of it, but he already told planning staff before June 1st, he's withdrawing. He told Judy again today he's withdrawing. He's also coming back, he's also told planning staff he's coming back with a new set of plans. So this isn't the end of what we're gonna see.
And we do have an email, this isn't just verbal?
Nope. And then he also, on the ZBA, they allowed him to withdraw without prejudice.
All
So
right.
he needed relief from both. So I'm thinking it's communication error, so that's why I made the motion to withdraw without
Yeah,
prejudice.
Okay.
If they don't like that, they can seek relief that they feel is necessary.
oh, that's good, that keeps it.
I mean, because Judy already said they come back with a new set of plans. So maybe it was just communication error, so that's why I'll stand by that motion, so. Okay. Move along, any other board members have any further correspondences or updates?
Just the historic board was still working on a date for our first televised meeting later this month.
Now, today's June 1st, huh?
We're getting there, but I don't know. I gotta check with Steve.
Okay. Anybody else with updates?
Mr. Chairman, just on the lines of historic structures, I just want to say I attended the groundbreaking for the Middlesex Community College Performing Arts Center, it's the old Boston and Maine building today, and it was a nice ceremony, and it's exciting to see that that building is finally going to be put to use, and I think it's going to be a key catalyst for rejuvenating that area even greater than the progress that we've seen. So again, I believe that looking at about an 18-month timeline, so looking forward to the first show that they have in the building.
Yeah. It has been many years. Another national
Any other
park.
follow-ups? If not, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye?
Okay, the motion carries. Good night, we're adjourned, everyone. Thank you.